Good afternoon, I'm Michelle Hogan. The Pagan Indian Band welcomed the Olympic torch with open arms today. As Gord Kelly reports, there were no protests. Instead, the flame was received with a ritual of great respect.
The Olympic torch relay opened the day on the Pagan Reserve near Brockett. It was a bright but bitterly cold morning, warmed by the welcome of a group of mounted Indian riders, their horses dappled with frost, carrying the tribal banner. A banner that, after their ride, they presented to the torch caravan. Pagan children stood at the side of the road to share the flame. While this colorful activity was going on in the cold outdoors, inside the van, designated T1, a new group of 10 runners was taken aboard, among them a young woman named Colette Mueller.
Shortly after I heard that I was accepted as a runner, we moved to Switzerland, and just last Tuesday I came back to do this run.
That's a good run, Colette.
Hey.
How are you, Colette?
Really good, Brian.
Good to see you. Good to see you, eh? Well, I guess you're a star now, Colette. You better know.
Colette's parents paid for her flight back from Switzerland to Calgary to run in the relay. She really wanted to take part, as the number of entries she submitted attest.
I'm not sure the exact amount that my husband and I put in, but somewhere around 4,000.
Congratulations, Colette.
Well, how was it? Was it worth it?
That was fun, you bet, yeah.
Worth the trip all the way back from Switzerland?
Sure, that definitely was.
Throughout the torch run, there has been a concern over the extent to which the complaints of the Lubicon band might have influenced other Indians. Terry Vogt will have a full report on that, and we'll watch a runner who is totally blind carry the flame into Lethbridge live on the evening news.
Calgary and Cochrane have lost out on a great job creation opportunity. Bombardier promised to build a military truck plant in Cochrane if the federal government awarded it a $300 million defense contract. Instead, Ottawa has decided to go with a firm in Kingston, Ontario. For more on that story tonight, or join us tonight at 6 o'clock.
In the rush of daily events, it's easy to forget the important reasons for those events. CFCN News probes deeper for expert analysis and added insight. Keep our changing world in perspective with the CFCN News team, only on Calgary 4 and 5.
Highlights of Panorama's Canadian Skiing Championships tonight on Channels 4 and 5 at 6.
On tonight's edition of CTV's Guide to the Good Life, Live It Up. Alan Edmonds looks for the best buys in telephones. Diane Buckner finds that breaking into pictures could mean a padded part. And a Canadian group plays rock and roll designed for 4-year-olds. All this and much, much more on CTV's Guide to the Good Life, Live It Up.
Live reports of the Olympic torch relay. I'm Rick Castiglione. Join me tonight. Good afternoon, I'm Darrell Jans. Alberta's second heart transplant recipient is dead at the age of 44. Dale Robinson died at 6:30 this morning in his Calgary home. Barbara Mitchell has more.
Without a new heart, Dale Robinson had no chance of survival. On August 11th, 1986, he underwent transplant surgery at the University of Alberta Hospital in Edmonton. The next day, Dale ate breakfast.
I had tea. I had oatmeal, porridge, and milk, and toast and eggs.
Robinson's recovery was remarkable. He was discharged from the hospital just 17 days after his heart transplant. He took up golfing, curling, and skiing, activities that would have killed him before the operation. Dale was named chairman of the Alberta Heart Foundation fundraising campaign. He traveled to hundreds of communities across Alberta, speaking about his operation and the need for more organ donors. During a routine heart examination, doctors discovered throat cancer, but Dale beat the disease following extensive chemotherapy. Then, late last year, doctors discovered Dale had an inoperable brain tumor. He died at home, surrounded by his wife, children, and family. Dale Robinson dead at age 44. Barbara Mitchell, CFCN News.
Calgary will be getting royal visitors from a number of countries over the next few weeks. The first of these is Prince Albert of Monaco, who is here as a member of the International Olympic Committee and a bobsleigh competitor for Monaco. He had lunch with Calgary Olympian Ken Reid today and met with a group of students from the Midnapore Elementary School to present them with a friendship album prepared by children from Monaco. Prince Albert is also president of the Monaco Red Cross Society, and today's cultural exchange project was a Canadian Red Cross Society event. Now it's off to Canada Olympic Park for the Prince to train with his team for the bobsleigh event. Our weather is going to turn very cold for one day. Tomorrow we'll have a high of only about -22, but then by Wednesday we will begin to see some moderation, and there is a suggestion that we could be into Chinook-like conditions by Saturday. We're back at 6 with a full hour of information. Join us then.
Some people learn about medical breakthroughs in their supermarket. Some people prefer to experiment at home. But if you're among those seriously concerned about the latest health issues, join me, Dr. Dean Adele, nightly on CFCN News with Michelle Hogan and Daryl Jans.
We'll profile one of the East German Olympic stars tonight, Calgary 4 and 5 at 6.
The CFCN Evening News, sharing the flame with live reports every night.
Good afternoon, I'm Michelle Hogan. The United Nurses of Alberta has paid a $250,000 fine for its conviction on charges of criminal contempt. The fine was paid by a certified check this afternoon, shortly after or before a court-set deadline at Court of Queen's Bench in Edmonton. Alberta women seeking abortions are heading to the United States. Due to the nurses' strike, no minor operations have been performed in Alberta hospitals for 2 weeks. Calgary's birth control clinic is recommending women who want abortions travel to the States. Next weekend, 19 Alberta women are scheduled to have abortions at a clinic in Missoula, Montana. Normally, the clinic sees 5 Alberta women per week. The federal government plans to draft a new abortion law to replace the one struck down by the Supreme Court of Canada. Justice Minister Ray Natishin would not elaborate or say when the legislation will be introduced. Austrian President Kurt Waldheim says he's been vindicated by a report from 6 international historians. However, a Greek advisor claims the historical report on Waldheim was toned down and that the panel was pressured into softening the report on Waldheim's ties to Nazi war crimes. We get more in this report.
The Waldheim affair plunged the Austrian cabinet into a divisive crisis session today. Coalition partners Prime Minister Vranitzky and Foreign Minister Mock poles apart on their reaction to the historian's report. Dr. Mock, a conservative, says the issue is now dead. Dr. Waldheim has been cleared of being a war criminal.
It was very clear. There's no personal culpability. That's the central issue for me.
Despite government interference with the report's final text, it remains a damning indictment of Dr. Waldheim's cover-up of his war past, specifically his claims to have been ignorant of the deaths of British commandos and the deportations of Jews. The report's severity has provoked today's cabinet crisis, but from the famous hunter of war criminals, Simon Wiesenthal, an old conservative colleague and friend of Waldheim's, tonight comes the sharpest blow.
I say that it's his obligation as a president to do something for the benefit of Austria. This can be only to resign.
Wiesenthal's first ever call for his friend's resignation is a new and important twist in the pressure against Kurt Waldheim.
And for more on today's events, join us tonight at 6 o'clock for the CFCN Evening News.
A report on the women's slalom at Panorama tonight on the Evening News at 6.